In his fifth season at Towson, Pat Skerry joining us right now, and I guess Charlie, this is the perfect coach to talk about the theme that we kind of established: a young CAA last year, but now you've got a little more experience to work with coming back. You have 5 guys that had scored at least 5.7 points or more. How valuable is that going to be for you this year?
We'll find out. I think that the league's on the uptick. There's a lot of teams have a lot of good players back. For us, obviously personally, we were pretty good at finding a way to lose close games last year. Now we've got to hopefully we've learned from that and turn those into victories. But certainly no easy challenge ahead.
How have you seen the kids respond so far? Because, as you said, they were in a lot of tough games last year. Do you see that they learned a little something, they grew because of that experience?
Well, they have. I like the group a lot. We started, we have 7 weeks in the spring that we worked out for. We worked out the Monday after we lost in the conference tournament, and we had all guys there all 10 weeks this summer. So we like to tell them, I think we've got a committed group, not an interested group, so that's important. But, you've got to be able to transfer that over and make winning plays, especially in the guts of the game, and that's what remains to be seen with our group.
And one of the highlights we just saw was the great inside work of John Davis, your junior's second-team preseason pick this year. Talk about his growth as you have seen it over these last couple of seasons.
Well, I laugh, and I told Coach Willem before, I don't know, John, he doesn't dribble, pass, or shoot great, but he finds he's the hardest playing guy I've ever been around. He practices that way. He's the first guy out every day. I love the kid. He's been a little bit banged up in the preseason, nothing long term, and for us to be good, obviously we're going to need him on the floor. But he's a savage.
Well, I think it's time for you to talk about a young man from Wake Forest that's on your squad now. I've heard great things about him. I'll let you introduce him and talk a little bit.
Yeah, no, Arnaud Adalo Willem Motos. It's William. We call him William. He's gifted. Which is going to really help us coaches play him a lot at the 4. He can get his own shot. He can rebound it and really carry it in transition, which obviously we had success for a couple of years with another guy doing that. He's got to prove he can do it like that. But he's had a good summer. He actually played the second part of summer for his national team. Had really good experience playing for the national team in Cameroon. And he's 6'7", he's 240. He can really shoot it. He puts it on the deck pretty good. He's got to do it every night. We need him to be an alpha dog. That's the one thing I'd say. It's the one thing we had with Benjamin a couple of years ago is every night he was an alpha dog. Moto has that type of ability. He's got to do it every night.
It's interesting. You've been able to use, in guys like Benjamin and hopefully now Moto, a couple of key transfers to help things along. But recruiting has been one of your trademarks. And a guy like Mike Morcell, who was on the All-CAA rookie team last year, certainly fits that role. You expect a much bigger jump up from him this year?
Hopefully, if we're going to be good. He's went from 190 to 215, so he's gotten stronger, and he really gets his own shot. Sometimes I tell Mike he looks like he's running downhill on offense, so we got him to play both ends. But he's, if we're going to be good, he might be the most talented guy we got. He's playing really well in the preseason. He's going to get tested next couple weekends with scrimmages, but yeah, he's got a chance to have a big year.
Well, Pat, let me ask you this question. I'm going to ask most of the coaches. We got a new rule in the pace of the game with a new 30-second clock. How is that going to affect your game?
I think it's going to really help us. We got stuck a lot. We've really spent a lot of time on pace and space. That's been our kind of themes on offense. We actually practiced, coach, a 24-second clock in the summer, and just to get in the habit. You'll see us. It'll be a lot different than we've played on. We're going to try to get the ball to the net as fast as possible, get it down the floor, and call a lot less sets for a couple of reasons. One, I've got, even though we're not inexperienced, we're young, and I trust the ceiling that this group can get to. And I just think the way the game's evolving, everything's based on pace of play, and I think you've got to adjust to that a little bit.
Yeah, you mentioned you are young, only 2 seniors. Tomas Parker-Rivera is one of your leaders, though. I would imagine on a young team, you're going to have to count on him to provide a lot of that kind of settle-down type of mode.
I hope so. He's worked hard. He's a great ambassador for us on and off the floor. He's a warrior. One thing he does, it's a skill. He plays hard all the time. And we're going to need to pull, for us to be good, though, and I think we have a chance to be really good. We're not yet, trust me. We have a long way to go. But we've got to, guys have to, what happens when the proverbial hits the fan? How do you respond to that? And how do you rally on the road? And we're going to have to go through some of those experiences and grow up quickly.
You know, we talked to you last year about your brand new building, CQ Arena. You were able to attract the Washington Wizards in this offseason. They held a lot of their training camp there. How much has that building been a factor and a benefit for you?
Yeah, big factor. The Wizards obviously do it at the highest level, so you always learn stuff, and having those guys around our guys, even for 4 days, was big. The arena's really helped them recruit. We finally were able to kind of break through in that DMV area and get some guys and maybe some higher conferences we're looking at, and we anticipate that being the norm.
Well, I can remember a couple years ago we sat here and you made statements very similar to what you make today. So I think you're pretty excited about the kids you got coming back.
A lot of work to do, Coach. Yeah.
When you, one of the things I definitely want to mention to you before we let you go is your Autism Awareness, Autism Speaks program. You and your wife kind of started this a few years ago. Are you surprised at how it's been so well embraced and well received amongst your peers in the college basketball community?
I mean, I'm really excited how it's grown. It's a source of pride for us, but I do think, and you've got a great coach here, Coach Woolen. If you ask coaches to do something, they'll do it, and we have so many rock stars in our profession. To see those guys wearing the pin, and guys in the conference have been great. So, game's going to keep growing. Hopefully, at some point in time, it's not so much autism awareness, but autism acceptance.
Mm-hmm. And you've been very pleased with the response, and you've seen some great results so far.
Yeah, it's been great. The NABC's helped out, and many hands makes light work. So we're going to try to keep pushing that ball.
Well, Pat, thank you so much, and good luck this season.
Thanks, guys.
Pat Skerry, the head basketball coach for the men's program at Towson University.